Peace and blessings to everybody who's paying attention to the Prison Riot radios on YouTube. My name is, once again, Thomas Lee Trent. I'm currently incarcerated in the New York State Correctional Facility. Got a little poem I want to build on called Pain Reliever. But at the same time, I just want to point out that, we all got growing pains that we look for some type of reliever to relieve that pain, to numb it. It's just, sometimes we have different perception of what we need to relieve a pain. Some rely on medication, some rely on drugs, alcohol, some people rely on workout, any type of therapeutic group, expressing whatever traumatic trauma that they experience to help pioneer someone else through their emotional storms. It doesn't always take drugs or alcohol to help numb pain. Sometimes you could lean on someone that you trust, and when it comes to trust is something that's earned through time, patience, and sacrifice. Respect is something that you give if you want respect back in return. The only way you can know someone could be trusted is if you test them. But you also, to get to trust, you got to communicate. So for me, I got a poem that I wrote called Pain Reliever. So I'm going to just go ahead and jump into it. Pain Reliever. When the world seems dark, I see the truth in your heart. When everybody lies, I be your believer. I hear the hurt in your heart. Let me be your pain reliever. When everybody puts you last, I'll be your number one. I'm here to numb all that has been done. Let me be your pain reliever. When your smile turns upside down, I'll be the frown that'll push us back up into your smile. Let me be your pain reliever. When the hurt and stress is too much for you to bear, and the feeling isn't too great, and you cannot bear either or, just take one of me in the AM, PM, and evening as your Tylenol, because I am your pain reliever. Pain reliever. My poetry, and I express myself through it. I do have some people who I've came across paths with in life since being incarcerated, to where me being in a friendship relationship with them, it actually helped relieve some pain that they were going through at that time, with support and being understanding, being supportive, as much as that I can, and vice versa, to the point where we became each other's pain relievers. So I had a significant other, who I've met decades ago, and I introduced myself to her through a mutual comrade back then, through an introduction letter. Just looking for a female companion to, build and bond with, and also build my own family, and also friendship, but also while I bid my time. So, I ended up crossing paths with someone at that time, and, through time, patience, and sacrifices, we was teaching and learning one another, and we was each other's pain reliever. Became each other's pain reliever. There were things on the outside she was going through, struggling as far as coping with being a teenage parent, and me not having kids, being there for her any way that I can, and supporting her with her child. That child was a child of my own. But things became a little complex because when you incarcerated, sometimes it put a strain on a relationship, because emotionally a female or male might need that person out there with them physically. So it could be a female that's locked up and the man is on the outside doing a bid with the female, but a lot of times it's the female that's doing a bid with the man. And we when I spoke on in my first podcast interview, as far as my poetry, as far as no one person on this earth is perfect, and nobody can be on upon themselves. Like we can't nobody make it in this world of life on their own. We all need somebody to help us get through rough and hard times, even confused ones. So, with discipline and dedication and determination, you can get done what you're trying to get done, but it doesn't mean that it won't wipe away them growing pains. It's all about your belief system, your support system, and being there for each other, because it's a two-way street and never one. So that's what encouraged me to write that poem, Pain Reliever, because, through a day outside, it still seems dark for some people. They visions is blurred, and their mental, their mind state, and their emotional state is full of dark moments where they can't seem to get by whatever it is that they can't cope with. So they believe they rely on a drug. Some people rely on sex. Some people rely on different things. Everybody has their own different fix of what numbs their pain. And for some people, unlike me now, it helps more now communicating, expressing my experiences, educating the public to help pioneer it better to where we look at what the real problems, get to the core of what the real problems to our well-being is, to help pave a better way for tomorrow, for the near future, the generation that's coming up. And with that being said, thank you for listening. Peace.